everyone! Yes, I am Katie and I am back by popular demand. A lot of you guys watched my part 1 of my The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild walkthrough, which I was so flattered by. Thank you guys. I got so many comments. Oh my god, it was amazing. It warmed my heart. I cannot wait to bring you guys part 2, but before I do so, there were a couple people who were asking me questions along the way. So I thought, why answer them individually? I'll just go nuts. I'll do it all in one big giant top 10. Breath of the Wild is a crazy game and it challenges a lot of people, so I'm here to help you. As an expert of the game, I am here to give you my 10 helpful tips of the wild. Let's get to it. Climbing is an integral part to the Breath of the Wild experience. It can often be a very dramatic experience. You may want to really climb that mountain you see, but your stamina meter isn't quite high enough to let you make it. Unbeknownst to some players, you don't always have to find another way or save the mountain for later, because if you actually reach a high enough point on the mountain and you have just that little bit of stamina left, the game will throw you a bone once you get into the red, coming up here in just a second, and if you watch, Link will actually do an even higher jump than he did prior. Another obstacle players may encounter in which they need to circumvent may be low damage. Perhaps you really want to defeat an enemy that's guarding a nice treasure, or you just need to get past an area that's guarded by several very difficult enemies. Oftentimes, the major thing standing in your way is a lack of damage. Fortunately, I found this handy-dandy little trick that actually allows you to raise your damage and allow you to get past it where otherwise you couldn't. So let's say you're using a very low-level weapon. For example, here I have the Sea Breeze Boomerang that's only about 20 damage. Not that great, to be honest. There are certainly better options in the game. A simple trick in order to raise your damage, I find, is to equip a stronger weapon. So I have the Stone Smasher here, and as we can see, it's 42 as opposed to the previous 20, and now I will do 22 times more damage than I did before. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out in the pinch of battle. It would be nice if you could play Breath of the Wild non-stop, but sometimes life does get in the way. The game is that good, but we can't play it forever. So there are times where you might want to exit the game. Now, this is a tip that I found very recently. My friend actually just let me in on this little helpful trick. Normally, you know, you have to quit the game, say you have to go run an errand or something. You might just put the switch in handheld mode and wait for the battery to run to zero, and then the game turns off. Or you might actually go down there and go to the title screen. You could do that. It's up to you. But if you look really closely, I'm using the Pro Controller. It'll be different on each controller, but if you look really closely on the Pro Controller, you'll see this little button that they call the home button. Pressing it brings you to the menu. Pressing X, again, different on different controllers, will bring up this little menu, and there we go. We can close the game. A quick way of stopping your game. Fortunately, my friend was kind enough to grace me with 2 helpful tips. Now, normally when you stop the game, you would obviously have to redo everything that you formerly did. I have 250 hours in Breath of the Wild, and I'd rather not have to redo it again. But if you look closely, press this button, which commonly called the pause button. I believe it's called the plus button on the Wii U and Switch. And hover over here to System, pressing the R button. You can see the game actually has a save feature. Now what save will do is it will actually save your progress, and you can come right back to where you were. You don't even have to worry about having to redo everything. It's all there, permanently saved. You can feel safe, you can feel secure. It's awesome, guys. It's really awesome. I highly recommend you. For this next trick, you'll want to warp to the outskirts stable and place yourself on the mountain just to the right of it, or maybe it's in front of it, I'm not sure, either way. Now, as I said before, Breath of the Wild is a game of epic proportions, and it has many secrets, many little Easter eggs. This version of Hyrule is very dense, and one of those secrets is the inclusion of man's best friend. As there are other forms of wild in the game, there are also dogs, and those dogs are not just there to be cute. They can actually help you out on your journey. If you befriend them properly, dogs will... well, they'll take you to various different secrets, and they'll do other stuff for you. And I find the best way to befriend a dog quickly is to do this. Just drop down. And there we go. We can see that Link is now dead, therefore giving the dog a free meal. Now, as we know, dogs love to eat meat, and there we go. He's got a free platter right in front of him. What better way to make him happy? It's his for the taking, so hopefully that helps you guys out in charming dogs quickly. Breath of the Wild is a massive game. It is a game of epic size, and sometimes it's going to take you quite a while to get around places. Fortunately, one of the best things you can do to circumvent this problem is getting the aid of a horse. Now, horses cannot be bought. They have to be found in the wild, and stealthing these guys can be a little bit tricky. It's not easy, but here's a helpful tip that I find allows you to stealth a horse quite easily, much like you would enemies. It's very similar. A lot of people have been asking it, so here you go. The first thing you'll want to do is get kind of close, not too close. You don't want them to run off. And then crouching down cuts your stealth down. And what you might also want to consider, this is up to you, you don't have to, you can wear some stealth gear. The stealth gear itself works best, it's appropriately named. And so you'll want to sneak in a little bit closer. Again, make sure they don't hear you. Be quiet if you have to, especially if you're earlier in the game. It's harder to stealth. So then you'll want to stealth these guys just as you would any other enemy. Alright. And there we go. They didn't even see it coming, and they have been properly stealthed. Like many of Nintendo's games as of late, Breath of the Wild implements motion controls. It is primarily used for aiming your bow and arrow. Now, for a lot of people, this is quite helpful, but also like most Nintendo games as of late, these motion controls are turned on by default when you start the game. There are those who don't prefer them. They prefer to use a control stick the classic way, and that's completely understandable. So as you can see, when I have motion controls active, physically moving the controller itself will adjust my aim. Now, a lot of people would not prefer that. It's a little too sensitive for them. Maybe they move their controller a lot while they play. So this is a trick I found out. I find that this is the best way to not use motion controls. Here it is. You can try it in any way you would like, but this is how I personally don't use the motion controls. If you actually keep your controller completely still, you can see I'm instead just using the control stick. The motion controls are not active. It's a little tough to keep your controller still like that, but I think that the best way personally is to put it on top of your lap. Keeps it stable, doesn't move it around much. So if you are one of those people who just can't really adjust to this newfound love for motion controls that's sweeping the world, then there you go. One of my favorite things about Breath of the Wild is the way that it makes rupees useful once again in a Zelda game. Now that hasn't been the case for quite a while, but in Breath of the Wild, the things are practically necessary to get yourself through. And naturally, you're going to need to find quite a lot of them. the best thing you'll want to do is try to grind out as many rupees as you can as quick as possible. I find that the best way to do so is by selling. So what you want to do is find a merchant for beetle, like so. That'll work perfectly. And choose, look what I've got. And I've got quite a bit here. But I find that the best stuff to sell are some of the non-edible stuff. In particular, guardian pieces. So as you can see, a giant ancient core sells for quite a bit alone. So what you'll want to do is sell one of these bad boys. And there we go. I've already got 200 rupees, which is already enough for a couple things. So that's how you make a rupee. Got that. That's how you make a good amount of rupees. We've got that, but how do you make them quickly? So, this stable works, I find, for this trick. We can see that it has not saved, because I am not located where I once was before I quit. And we can find Beetle again. And as you can see, it's only been about what, 40 seconds since I got my last rupee. Therefore, quick! So we want to go to Beetle again. Look what I've got. And scroll on over. And we can see 2 ancient cores again, just like before. And we sell it again. Now, with this trick, it's obviously not going to, you know, get you twice the amount. Like, you're not going to be stacking these rupees, but we are here for quick rupees. This is how you make quick rupees. It only took about 40 seconds in between each I got 200 rupees and it took only about 40 seconds between each of them. So that's the best way I find to do it quickly, is to very quickly get out of your game, make sure it hasn't saved yet, go back and make another quick 200 rupees. Hopefully that helps. So I've been getting a lot of fan mail from you guys, which, by the way, I appreciate immensely. Thank you so much. Lots of questions, comments, concerns. But one of those questions I want to address today, which is probably the one I've been getting asked the most, is, Katie, how do I get a better look at Prince Sidon's ass? His buttocks, his rear, his behind, if you will. And it's I understand the question. I for sure, I sympathize with all those who want to see it better. But I find the best trick is to come up here behind him on Zora's domain and just turn your camera into first person, and there you go. Yeah, it's the only trick that I know of at the moment. I'm not sure. You guys could please comment your own methods if you have any. This is the best one I know of. Hopefully it helps you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it quite a bit. For our 10th and final tip, it requires that you have already beaten the Varuda dungeon, which is you can do the dungeons in any order you'd like, so you can do it first if you'd like to initiate this little cool trick that I found right away. It's up to you. So yeah, once after you have beaten Varuda, he becomes a teleport point, so you're going to want to teleport to Divine Beast Varuda, like so. So the first thing you're going to want to, well, the first thing you'll notice is that this smoldering place is so hot that Link can't even take it. It will slowly drain your health. So what you'll first want to do is equip yourself properly so that the fire does not kill you. And now we see Divine Beast Varuda in all his glory. And here's the trick. This is how you jump into Death Mountain. You'll want to find a proper place like so and jump in. And you can take as long to drop as you'd like. It's up to you. And there we go. There we are. So yeah, that is our final tip out of 10. Perhaps more to come later. We'll see about that. So there you have it, everyone. Those are my top 10 helpful tips of the wild. I hope that they have aided you in your journey in some way. If you guys would like me to make any more of these videos, then be sure to let me know. And if you like what you saw, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever that means. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.